a challenging tax in terms of people's take on it, Tom, or certainly aspects of it. Inheritance tax.
Yeah. So again, I think it was widely expected that there would be some sort of reform to inheritance tax in some way or another.
Yeah.
Again, details clearly weren't there, and there was a lot of speculation as to what it would look like. So the main takeaways from an inheritance tax perspective is that there's been quite a significant restriction on the amount of business property relief combined with agricultural property relief that you can claim. So basically, it's being capped at a combined figure of £1 million that you'll get full relief on, which, as things stand currently, there isn't a value limit on the amount of BPR and APR relief you can get, subject to conditions being met. So with the introduction of this £1 million limit, basically, what we're saying is that any businesses or farms that have a value in excess of £1 million will be in some shape or form brought within the IHT net, whereas previously it would have been completely relieved and there'd be no IHT due. What was announced within the budget is that that would be the case, but they would benefit from a 50% relief on the IHT rates. So it's kind of almost spun it in a way to say, well, actually, you're getting a 50% discount on the normal rates, which is kind of right. But before they weren't paying anything at all. So actually, it's a 50% increase, if you like.
Yeah.
So
no, I get it. Yeah.
It's all how things are spun. But that one, we'll come on to the next one in a minute, which is pensions, which again was quite a big change from an IHT perspective. But I'm surprised these aren't getting a bit more coverage than what they are at the moment.
Well, I think Jeremy Clarkson, obviously, because he operates a farm.
Yes, yeah.
Well, huge amount of land and farming in Oxfordshire. I think there's been quite a bit from him.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Yes.
I guess to explain where I'm coming from, what it now means as things stand is that if you take a farm, for example, typically a lot of value in the farm is obviously within the land itself. If that or a significant proportion of that gets dragged into IHT when you're looking to pass it on and down the generations, somewhere funds are going to need to be found to pay off the IHT liability. Which if a farm isn't sat on a lot of cash, then where's that money going to come from?
So probably going to have to sell the land, is what you are potentially implying there. And that could be the end of the farming business within a family, as you know it.
It's what could happen. I mean, we're not saying that's the only option. Clearly there may be other options in terms of raising funds to pay the liability, but nonetheless, it suddenly creates quite a sort of hurdle to get over when you're looking at passing on a farm or a family business onto the next generation. Previously, or currently I should say, because these changes aren't coming in until April 2026, you could pass it on without the worry of inheritance tax, whereas now that is quite a big consideration, especially where we're talking a big value either on the business or on the land when it comes to a farm. It's quite a big consideration in terms of how you then get that onto the next generation.
Yeah. So the example on the blog is a £3 million farm, and the liability that then kicks in when these changes take place.
Yeah.
So be sure to check that out, as we have a few examples of tax changes elsewhere as well. Yeah. So it's circumstance dependent, but it's the same challenge for all when the time comes to potentially look at passing the farming business on through the generations.
Yeah, exactly right. So that was quite a big change, and probably for certainly a lot of our clients will cause a lot of issues in terms of how to mitigate that liability, and potentially just means planning a lot further in advance might be necessary. So it is really a game changer, I think, in terms of succession planning.
So definitely to consult your advisor, start planning, or even plan differently maybe now based on what's happened.
Yeah, potentially that might be the case.
And this will impact on wills as well, I assume, and how that all works. So a lot to think about, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that covers off the sort of the transfer of businesses from an IHT perspective.